So let's just get this out of the way. This is mostly an ephemeral podcast in the sense that it goes away. You know, we talk about the current stuff in wrestling. But we're kind of talking about some wrestling related thing right now is Will Smith smacking Chris Rock in the face, which immediately reminded me of William Regal.
Yeah, a little bit.
Except for, I don't know. William Regal is a little bit more controlled and deliberate in his actions, and he's also in a situation where people are expecting such a slap at this point.
Yeah, not what is supposed to be the classiest night in cinema. The Met Gala for movies there.
So I saw this crazy kind of like conspiracy theory, you know, and in the grand scheme of things of some stuff that some NXT former refs believe, it's a very tame, but they were like, well, WrestleMania is in Hollywood next year. And, you know, we gotta, you know, they've already done Bad Bunny. They've got Jackass this year. Like what better to have this year's Oscar winner, and Chris Rock, go with, I don't know, let's say Will Smith and Jada Pinkett versus Chris Rock and, I don't know, Stephanie McMahon for some stupid reason. So
it'll probably be Rousey.
Yeah.
She was in one of those Grown Ups movies, wasn't she?
Oh, I think so.
I think like very briefly, but I think she knows Kevin James somehow.
Yeah. But that would make sense. Anyway, it's a hell of a way to start. But the Blackpool Combat Club, I'm digging the name.
I'm down with it. The internet does not seem terribly fond of it, which caught me off guard. I kind of just assumed it's William Regal and Mox and Danielson, so they were in a boat where they could do no wrong. But it's also 2022, so you got to have half the internet bitching about everything. In
the multiverse, what I would really love, instead of Pete Dunne becoming Butch, I would have loved him to be, because he's from Blackpool, I would love him to be in this Blackpool Combat Club. You know, I don't even care if it's not even in this multiverse. It's not even in the AEW. That's like in WWE. Like that just would have been, I don't know, been really cool. So,
I actually would think it fantastic if he would adopt Blackpool Butch as his name, just as like a tongue-in-cheek like thing, you know, nod to Regal.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was I'd say it's a big week in wrestling, but at the same time, I can't remember a whole lot of it. What you got? Any big hits from the week?
Well, so I watched all this stuff very recently, at least the AEW stuff. I kind of watched yesterday and this morning. What sticks out to me is just, man, they've done a great job with Ricky Starks. Great job with Ricky Starks. Not only that, Ricky Starks has done a good job himself. Like he's taken that opportunity and run with it. I think he called himself Mr. Rampage at some point, and like, you know, he kind of him and Hook kind of rule that show. It really just Team Taz does all around, all across the board. But from, you know, they did a great job putting that the Rochambeau reversal from the Lethal Injection into his entrance video. I've noticed that, and anytime they like promote a match now, they just show that clip. And it's perfectly executed, and he's just really good on the mic. He has a great chemistry with Keith Lee, which I don't know. I loved it. And we've got those great, the Keith Lee looks like meme out of this whole thing. And I really like that match with Swerve. I think it was interesting that they've he's got his last name back, but he's still like, they just dropped Shane from it. So, which is fine. It's whatever. But I loved that whole moment with Keith Lee just busting through the banner that they had. One man football team. What else did but I just I don't know what their plan is kind of going forward with Ricky Starks, but he really is, I like Brian Cage. I will say that, but like Ricky Starks has done an incredible job for FTW.
Yeah. They actually, I like that now that it's Ricky Starks, he defends it. I mean, it's always in matches where like shady stuff can make sure the belt stays with Team Taz. But even if it's an unrecognized title by the company, I do like that it's on the line occasionally.
Yeah. I do like that Jay Lethal brought up the fact that kind of switching gears a little bit to Adam Cole. So he did lose a match to Adam Cole, but he lost kind of due to some cheating involved. And I did like that he brought that up. He's just like, this is the only reason I lost. I have a pretty great win record, or I think essentially undefeated minus those 2 matches. And, you know, I like that they just didn't ignore that. Like that he's actually using that and he's, you know, potentially plotting some kind of revenge. But I hope that AEW in general doesn't use the cheating angle just too much kind of going forward.
Yeah. It's become a bit of a thing, particularly in instances with tag teams, where they just seem to appear at ringside and cause a distraction. It's getting overused a little bit. So they could probably benefit from cooling down on that.
And I think one way of kind of doing that is they made a point to say there's very many disqualifications. There are very few disqualifications. There are very few countouts of those other types of wins that you do see a lot more in WWE. But I think they could maybe find a way to pump the brakes on that by actually utilizing that. In the favor of the person that's being cheated against.
I mean, it's a solid tool for, you know, heel face alignment strategy. So it's weird that they don't use it more often. They always have to have the distraction so that there's not a DQ. And I'm just as happy with a DQ finish here and there, to at least that way it's kind of fresh. Like, you know, flip a coin. This match is either going to have the distraction and the heel gets the win, or, you know, the DQ is going to get, or they're going to get caught doing something and they're, you know, the heel takes a loss here and there. Especially since everybody that gets a title shot gets it through a fucking ladder match anyway. So these rankings have gone out the window. So it's one of those where, like, just, I understand the rankings initially were, to legitimize who was getting the title shots and things like that. And it got us a match with Dante Martin, which I loved. That match was great. But at the same time, like we've seen this over and over again, that the guys getting the title shots are the ones that win the 6-man ladder matches, or the casino battle royale or shit like that. It's not as rankings focused as it initially started out.
And some other good stuff that I really liked, Dustin Rhodes versus Lance Archer, just a surprisingly just good match. And we did get a roll-up finish. And again, like our patron saint of this podcast, Moose and Chris Sabin, I thought it was an excellent use. It felt motivated, and it felt like a legit surprise and well utilized. And
I liked that. I liked that he got the roll-up win and then got the ever-loving shit beat out of him for it, too. I would really like to see the two of them on the Double or Nothing card in a cage or something, because they need the rubber match now. And I've said it before, and it bears repeating that, 40 years or whatever it is in this, Dustin still kicks ass.
Right.
I mean, outside of the ring, I've heard he's not a terribly pleasant human, but in the ring, he is everything he says he is.
Is that recent? Because I hear, when he had a myriad of addiction issues, that he was, a very, very terrible person, but that now he actually tries to act as a mentor and try to like make up for it. But maybe that's not recent.
I mean, that's been like, I can't knock anybody for making up for issues. So that's good to hear. I haven't heard any of that, but it was several years ago. So
he had some issues, and it was one of these things where that's one of the good things that kind of WWE does sometimes is they do help some of the people that are struggling a lot if they're asking for help, that they kind of go out of their way to help them and not immediately fire them. So
as long as you're not a Hardy.
Yeah. And what else for AEW? So there were some. So we talked about what we liked. There were a couple of moments. You mentioned the Thunder Rosa Vicky Guerrero interruption, where they mentioned green card issues, fake green cards.
It felt weird to me that somebody not tied to Dan Lambert was out there making fake green card jokes.
Yeah,
and infinitely more so from Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah,
whose husband was legitimately Mexican. So that caught me off guard a little bit. It felt a little shitty that Thunder Rosa didn't get an actual celebration moment. I mean, Britt Baker got the whole grandstand with the Big Macs and the Shivani interview and all that. And then Thunder Rosa basically got accused of being an illegal and the shit beat out of her. So I thought it was that was an odd choice. And weird that we're going back to the Nyla Rose well. I don't understand why every champion has to immediately defend against Nyla.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
I mean, at this point, let's do, I don't know, why not just do a gauntlet of all the champions at this point? You got to fight Riho, Nyla, Shida, and then Britt Baker again, I guess.
I mean, if somebody was going to come out and interrupt her during her celebration moment, at this point, going back to rankings, it should have been, Serena Deeb.
Yeah.
Because she's got to be number 2 or number 3, at the very worst. So I would have liked that. At least it was a little bit of a new blood situation in the title picture,
right?
And not just going right back to you're a new title holder. Well, here's the native beast so that you can show what you can do. We know what Thunder Rosa can do. We've seen it.
Yeah. To Nyla Rose. We know exactly what they can do. But that you mentioned one of our favorite names on this podcast when you were mentioning Vicky Guerrero just now, Mr. Dan Lambert. He just is everywhere now. Not only is he just he's not just with the Men of the Year. He's just randomly with Lance Archer because I guess Jake didn't show up this week. I don't understand it. This
has been a thing. Dan Lambert was behind him. That's what got him that title shot.
Yeah.
It's inexplicable to me. The Dan Lambert. It's like he planted. He's a fucking cancer, and he is just cells have duplicated throughout this company, and he's just with everybody now. Like I told you yesterday, Paige Van Zant is a legitimate badass. But she's just going to be presented as another Dan Lambert puppet, which means she doesn't get to win. I don't know. I don't know why he still gets to be involved in all of this. I do appreciate that he spits off random wrestling history.
Yeah.
He's clearly a historian, but that's for a podcast with Cornette. That is not for television every week. My primary issue with Dan Lambert is the issue I still have with CM Punk, and it's just way too much TV time for one person with a roster this inflated. So it's pump the brakes, use Dan Lambert like every other week.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. We've, as much as you're probably paying Punk, he's got to get the TV time. Every crowd has paid. Let's just assume 70% of the people that bought tickets because Punk is on the card.
Right.
Even if he's just going to come out and talk for a while. I understand using Punk as much as you do right now. Keep ticket sales up and whatnot. But Dan Lambert does not bring that to the table.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
So, yeah, we had that. We had the I don't know. I think I honestly didn't watch it. I know it was widely panned, the Sammy Guevara, Tay Conti. So, and I like both of those as individual wrestlers. I don't need them on screen together. They can say that for their vlog, you know.
Putting them together and using this, if they think that Sammy's still a face at this point, they're sorely mistaken, because he has become borderline intolerable. So thank you for putting him on screen with Dan Lambert, because it makes it so much easier to fast forward through 20 minutes of the show. I don't know. There's some weird choices going on around there. So I'm curious I'm hopeful that once Ring of Honor gets back up and going, that like the roster can kind of branch out and we can get shows that aren't. I mean, the Dan Lambert and the Sammy Ty Conti thing, it's WWE.
Yeah,
like it is their creative, like to a T. So I don't know who in the office brought this to Tony Khan, if he came up with it himself or what, but
well, and then also this unfortunately brings to my memory the the violation that Paige had with her, with like, intimate photos stolen of her. And it's just like very unfortunate. And obviously this is like, they purposely put this out there, but like, I don't know, being naked with belts and stuff. And maybe they were going for more the Shawn Michaels vibe than reminding that, but it obviously that the Page incident is definitely more recent. So
it's along those there's a fine line with wrestling, especially after all the Me Too shit.
Yeah,
where, I mean, is this still wrestling, or are we moving back to bra and panties matches? Should we just bring Jerry Lawler in to do commentary again? Kind of shit. And this felt like it was on the wrong side of that line.
So let's see less of this, I'm hoping, but I'm sure, like you mentioned, like it's going to be 75% Dan Lambert on this next episode of Dynamite.
Fuck, it's in Colombia. Son of a bitch! I've got tickets for this one. Oh, great.
Yeah, it's just doubler Lambert is what we're gonna have eventually here coming soon.
Might as well. Full Lambert. Yeah. That's what
fully Lambert.
Full Gear has been completely rebranded.
Well, let's see. What do we have coming up? Has there actually been any major changes to the WrestleMania card? Any major developments?
No.
Yeah.
No. We basically had this shit set in stone 3-4 weeks ago, and both shows have felt like they're treading water. God bless both Charlotte Flair and Brock Lesnar, because they are trying their fucking hardest here lately. I know you aren't a fan of Brock Lesnar. He just doesn't do it for you, which is entirely understandable. But he is putting in an awful lot of legwork to try and make the 800th match in this feud interesting. I don't know how this is the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. We've had this match on 3 other WrestleManias. But yeah, no, we are on the road to WrestleMania. This is our wrap-up week as we move into Saturday and Sunday, the big show. So I pulled up the card, and I figured we would just shoot through it, see if we could try and predict this damn thing quickly. Because there's an awful lot of it, and yet not enough to justify 2 days, to the point where the Andre and the Intercontinental Championship are on the SmackDown before WrestleMania.
It's also kind of crazy too, just like logistically. Like if you and me were going to this Mania and we're going to both nights, just getting in and out of that stadium, unless you're just walking distance, like at a hotel walking distance from that stadium, like I just can't imagine like just the craziness. So anyway,
and I feel I don't feel like there was a whole lot of lodging option in Arlington.
No.
So if you're fortunate enough to be at the one La Quinta that you can walk to from that stadium, more power to you. But we have night one of WrestleMania, which will consist of Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship.
I'm gonna go with Bianca here. That she's gonna take this and gonna make up for this whole SummerSlam issue from several months ago.
I'm gonna lean the other way on this one. I think that everybody's going to imagine this as Bianca getting yet another WrestleMania moment, and I don't see back-to-back moments for anybody really.
That is true. Like that last WrestleMania moment felt like it was 5 years ago, but that was just last year. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even recall if John Cena ever got back-to-back WrestleMania moments.
Yeah.
So other than The Undertaker, and we're not treading Undertaker water here yet. So we will have, oh man, night one is just bogged down with garbage. Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin.
I'm going to say that who I would like to win, I would like Drew McIntyre. But what I'm going to suggest is going to happen is Happy Corbin is going to win. Just because Vince likes him.
He does. It's inexplicable, but he does. Then we will move into our first celebrity match for the card. The Miz teams with the internet's probably top 10 piece of shit, Logan Paul, taking on the Mysterios.
I do want to know who the rest of your top 10 is, if he's in there. I mean, I'm sure it's got a pretty despicable list, but I'm going to, please God, let it be the Mysterios.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they've shoved a rocket up little Dominic's ass, even though he needed to spend 2 years in NXT. Yeah. Vince does like to push the celebrities. But I'm going to lean towards the Mysterios here because I think Johnny Knoxville gets a win on night two.
Yeah, me too. I got that too.
So I think he gets the celebrity win this time. Plus, it doesn't hurt the Miz to eat losses at WrestleMania.
Right.
So we have a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match that feels like it's come out of nowhere. Former Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs will challenge the Usos.
I am excited about a whole Boogs moment at WrestleMania, but the Usos are winning. I think. I'm going to lean the other direction.
Okay. I think this is going to be the start of a big Rick Boogs push. I almost anticipate Rick Boogs and Shinsuke parting ways and Rick Boogs teaming up with Braun Breaker very, very soon, because that would be electric. So I'm going to lean the other direction and get a belt on Boogs here, because they've got to have a belt that they can lose to lead to that breakup. We will move on. One of the matches that I'm most excited about, Edge versus AJ Styles.
I think I'm going to go with Edge winning here, but I think it's going to be one of the best work rate matches in this. Am I using that word right? I don't know.
Has AJ Styles won a match at WrestleMania?
He didn't.
Oh, he and Omos won last year.
Oh, okay.
But it was mostly just the Omos show.
Yeah.
But has he won a singles match at WrestleMania? Because he came in like hot as hell and then lost to Jericho.
Yeah.
And I can't recall if he's actually won one.
Did Shane win?
I can't remember. I feel like he might have.
Yeah.
He's got a real questionable WrestleMania record. But I wouldn't mind seeing him get a big win here. But I think Edge is going to get it.
Yeah.
En route to being the the guy that challenges to get Raw's belt back when Roman wins.
Yeah.
All righty. Our other women's championship match, Charlotte Flair taking on personality houseplant Ronda Rousey.
You know, like, it's normally a safe bet for Charlotte Flair to win, and she's been carrying this whole thing the entire time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with, like, the swerve WrestleMania Ronda Rousey win here.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a as if this was a Sasha Banks match. I think Charlotte drops the belt and immediately takes it back on SmackDown, so that Ronda gets her WrestleMania moment and they could use it in fucking promos going forward.
She gets to, she goes on the Today Show and stuff like that, which Charlotte's been on several times at this point.
Yeah,
so
she gets to go back on ESPN and shit like that for a week, and then the belt goes back to Charlotte, so that she's the 387th time women's champion at this point. We have Stone Cold appearing on the KO show. It's just going to be Stone Cold stunnering the living shit out of KO.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't think this becomes a match.
No,
if this does become a match, they tee it up here, and the match happens at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see any way in hell this is an actual match at this point.
I do think it might be a little bit more athletic than just like a stunner and maybe a couple punches thrown. I think we might get like a Luthez press, kind of something a little bit more athletic. And Stone Cold's in great shape right now. But yeah, I still would like to not see it ever be an actual match. Just like, you know, he throws a few punches, a stunner, Luthez press. Shows he still got it, moves on.
All right. RK Bro will open up night 2 defending the Tag Team Championship in a triple threat match against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy.
You know, I think it might be Alpha Academy's time. I do feel like RK Bro is going to have some kind of fracture here.
Yeah.
But I think a kind of Alpha Academy might be able to capitalize on this and get a win here.
Yeah,
in the chaos.
They've in the most subtle way ever. Chad Gable's been getting the push we've wanted for years.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there. We move into our Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville anything goes match, but both of us have already predicted Johnny Knoxville.
Man, I'm just wondering. Okay, so how crazy is this anything goes match? Because I just keep on picturing that container thing with like what was like scorpions or something coming down the thing in Jackass Forever or various things. And I'm just thinking is there some kind of apparatus like that happening?
It's Johnny Knoxville, so I don't know how we get through this match without a bull getting involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be nuts. I think this could secretly be the best match on the card. In terms of both entertainment value and just it'll be like Bad Bunny putting in the effort that puts it over, and I think Johnny Knoxville is gonna at least give it his all. We have SmackDown commentator Pat McAfee taking on Austin Theory in the most weird feud I can recall in a while. Austin Theory, McMahon gave Pat McAfee this match and then put him against his protege. And
hey, you want a match?
It's just been the weirdest thing. I think Vince still sees McAfee as like a celebrity participant, even though he's not. He's on TV every week. He wrestled twice in NXT. I don't think it's the novelty that Vince sees it as. But I do think Pat McAfee gets a win here.
Yeah.
To further this break between Vince and Austin Theory.
I do think it'll be entertaining. I don't think I'll be bored by this match at all, but it'd be nice if it was like better built up, like the McAfee Cole match. But you know, it's just like the fact that McMahon just like offered like, hey, you want a match? Like, on his podcast. It just seemed very weird. So
yeah. The Women's Tag Team Championship will feature champions Queen Zelina and Carmella taking on Naomi and Sasha Banks, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler in a fatal four-way.
Man, I don't know.
I feel like there's no way Liv Morgan doesn't get a WrestleMania moment now. The way they built her up going into the Rumble and then just took a steamy shit on her.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's got to be Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan at this point.
Right.
After the debacle with giving Charlotte Rhea's NXT title and what they did to Liv earlier this year already. Like, it's got to be them.
Yeah.
The big one. Well, we'll dabble in some of these rumors. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. I still don't think this match happens. I think Cody Rhodes is working everybody as hard as possible, and he's not actually going back to WWE. I don't know how you could after the sledgehammer to the throne and like all of the shit that he talked for 2+ years to just go right back feels so strange to me. But all signs point to this match actually taking place. So what do you think?
If this happens, and I do believe that it's going to, Cody Rhodes is getting the win here. It's going to make Seth Rollins look like a chump, which they've been doing this whole build. So, like, why stop at Mania?
Yeah.
So,
I think I'm with you. I think that it's going to be, if it does happen, Cody will be the first to challenge Roman for the Universal Belt coming out of this win. I think if Roman takes both belts, because they've said they're not unifying them, it's just going to be one champion with two belts. So I think Edge is going to be his challenger on Raw after an AJ Styles win. And then we're going to get American Nightmare versus Tribal Chief, which I'm all for.
I just think, unfortunately, Cody, at least, and I'd love to be wrong, but I feel like he's going to be an afterthought by the time we get to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. He'll get the title shot at Backlash.
Yeah.
And then, like most Backlash competitors, they're gone.
He'll have the match against Corbin at SummerSlam, which will be on the pre-show.
And he'll lose.
Yeah.
All right, the big one. I've already been pretty vocal about my pick here. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar in the stupendous, largest WrestleMania match of all time. This match is bigger than Hulk slamming Andre, apparently. This match is bigger than Hall Michaels ladder match. This match is bigger than Hogan Ultimate Warrior. Man, it's a big fucking claim for something that's going to last 8 minutes.
Or any of the Rock Stone Cold outings, really.
This is bigger than Rock Hogan.
Yeah.
Oh man, I
think ultimately Roman has to win it. That's my whole thing. Like that's what they've been trying to use Brock for all these years, and then they've always just pulled back at the last minute and just like had Brock win. And just for that time where we went to WrestleMania 34 and walked out of that place defeated, I would like to see Roman win. Although, with his character, you could make the argument for Brock Lesnar winning now, but ultimately that's the torch passing moment that needs to happen to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I completely agree. And as much fun as Brock seems like he's having in this, you got to get him off TV before he gets burnout. Otherwise, it's going to go back to everything it's always been.
Right.
You got to put the belt on Roman. Roman he's in shape enough to handle the workload of both shows, both belts, defending both regularly. I think it behooves them if they're going to finally just like give him the keys to the fucking kingdom,
right?
Do it.
Well, I think that's a pretty comprehensive thing, and I was actually wondering, is like, am I going to watch WrestleMania? But I mean, I guess I technically have the time, and why not? I guess so. I'll watch it.
I know I'm watching night 2.
Yeah,
I can't make any promises about night 1. I'll fast forward to the end and see what happens with Stone Cold. That's about Edge and AJ's night 1. So I guess I've got to get through that one.
I'll put it on. I'll probably be doing some other things possibly, but if there's something that catches my eye, I'll watch it a little bit more. But well, we got to wrap this up. So what should our viewers or our listeners do?
Like, subscribe, share. We are on all the majors, Spotify, Apple Podcast, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. So share it, put it in a link tree, and spread that shit around. Ring the bell. Watch us on YouTube.
Where I have a background today, where I've got this TV behind me with a Dark Match logo, which is pretty cool. You should check it out. If you listen to this podcast, you should just go look at it.
Yeah, visit our website. I haven't posted any articles lately, but I do tend to get very chatty leading into WrestleMania. So keep up with the website. I may start posting shit this week. And we will see you next time.
All right.